Okay, here's something to think about. What if the polite way you treat strangers, holding a door, the quick thank you, what if that's actually the absolute lowest bar for respect in your most important relationship?
That really hits it, doesn't it? We often mix up that basic surface level courtesy with the deep foundational respect you need for love that lasts.
Yeah, like thinking everything's fine just because nobody's yelling.
Exactly. Confusing the absence of obvious disrespect with real mutual understanding and validation.
So today we're really going to dig into that. We're moving past the simple idea of respect as just politeness. We're diving deep into what PG Sebastian calls the true, dupper dimensions of respect.
And our goal here, based on PG Sebastian's insights, is to see why going beyond just tolerating each other is so critical for growth in a relationship.
It's about, as he puts it, active engagement and appreciation of the unique compositions of individuals. Sounds complex, but vital.
Absolutely. This isn't just, theoretical stuff. If you're serious about building something that endures a real steps to forever kind of connection, then getting this shift in understanding respect, it's non-negotiable.
Right, so let's unpack this. PG Sebastian says respect is more than just not being disrespectful. What is that more? What's the active part?
He frames it really compellingly as respect is recognition. It sounds straightforward, but the implications are huge. It's not just putting up with someone.
It's active.
It's proactive,
Eh,
a conscious effort. He actually defines it as a profound appreciation and acknowledgement of another person's intellectual output, feelings, wishes, and experiences.
Okay, so let's say my partner's telling me about their stressful day, and I'm nodding along but secretly planning dinner. That's politeness, maybe, but it's failing at recognition.
You nailed it. Think about what's happening there. When your partner shares a thought, a feeling, PG Sebastian emphasizes they're giving you a glimpse, a real window into their subjective reality.
Their unique way of seeing things.
Exactly. Forged by everything they've ever experienced. So respect, in this deeper sense, means actively valuing that glimpse. Understanding that what they're sharing is real and valid for them, even if it feels totally different from your own reality.
It changes listening from just a task, something you have to do, into receiving something valuable.
Yes. And when you fail at that recognition, what does that look like?
Is it the big blow-ups?
Sometimes, but often it's quieter. More like low-grade erosion. It's the constant interrupting, maybe. Or that subtle eye roll when they bring up that topic again.
Or jumping in with solutions before they've even finished explaining the problem.
Precisely. That's passive tolerance.
Yeah.
You let them talk, sure, but inside you're kind of dismissing their right to feel that way or think that thought. PG's work really drives home that this failure to recognize their unique makeup basically says, my reality matters more than yours.
Which leads us straight into conflict territory. Because disagreements, well, they happen, especially when two different subjective realities bump up against each other.
They're inevitable.
So how does PG Sebastian help us tell the difference between a healthy debate that maybe helps us grow and disrespect that actually damages the relationship?
He draws a really clear line. Disagreement, at its best, should spark growth. It's two people committed to each other, wrestling with an issue. They use that friction to maybe broaden both their perspectives.
Okay, that makes sense.
Disrespect, though, that just shuts things down. It hinders communication, makes misunderstandings worse, and just keeps them going.
But like we were just saying, the real danger isn't always the shouting match. It's often sneakier.
Oh, absolutely. The really damaging stuff is often subtle. PG Sebastian points out that disrespect usually shows up in things like dismissive attitudes, outright rejections, or undervaluing another's viewpoints. It's less about what you argue about and more about how.
Right. Here's something PG Sebastian points out that you should really consider. If you've ever shared an idea and had your partner just wave it away instantly, or maybe they finish your sentence, but with that tone that says, yeah, I know what you're going to say, and it doesn't matter, that subtle dismissal. That's the real threat PG Sebastian identifies. It cuts deeper than yelling because it invalidates who they are, their reality.
And focusing on understanding that subjective reality, well, that leads us right into empathy. PG Sebastian stresses that empathy isn't just a nice extra. It's fundamental. It's integral to building respect.
So if respect is the act of recognition, is empathy the engine that makes recognition actually work?
That's a great way to put it. Yes. Empathy, in PG Sebastian's view, involves active listening, really hearing and validating the emotions underneath the words, and crucially, holding back from just imposing your view on them.
Not trying to fix it immediately, maybe?
Or correct it. It's about trying to appreciate the whole tangled web of experiences that makes them see the world the way they do. You step into their reality for a moment, without losing track of your own.
Okay, I get that. But here's where PG Sebastian introduces that tricky idea, the faulty premise. If we're supposed to value all these subjective realities, does that mean we just have to passively accept every disagreement as some kind of learning moment?
Ah, yes, the faulty premise. And PG Sebastian warns us, pretty directly, that it's overly optimistic to consider all disagreements as potential learning opportunities. Because, let's be honest, not all viewpoints are equal, especially if a viewpoint itself violates the very idea of respect we're talking about.
Okay, so how do you walk that line? It feels incredibly fine. How do you challenge a perspective you find genuinely harmful, maybe it devalues someone else, without disrespecting the person holding that view?
Well, that's where the real maturity in a relationship shows up, isn't it?
Hmm.
PG Sebastian is very clear. Respect isn't passive acceptance of everything. We actually have a responsibility to challenge perspectives that propagate harm or devalue the experiences and identities of others.
But respectfully.
Yes, the dialogue he talks about is constructive. It's inclusive. It's not about shutting the person down, but engaging with the idea.
So practically, say my partner has a view I think is really destructive. I can
Yeah.
recognize, okay, this comes from their experience, their reality, but still say, I don't agree with the view itself.
Exactly. You validate the person. You might say something like, I hear how important this is to you, and I respect your passion for it. But then you engage the idea. Maybe you bring in other information, or suggest looking at it from another angle.
Not attacking them for thinking it.
Right. PG Sebastian suggests the goal should always be to build something better, more inclusive, not just, tolerating views that actually eat away at the relationship's foundation of mutual appreciation.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift to some practical cornerstones then. Individuality first. PG Sebastian frames respect as really appreciating the uniqueness of the other person. How do we stop a really close relationship from just swallowing that individuality?
The key, according to PG Sebastian, is crystal clear and non-negotiable. Boundaries.
Boundaries. Always important.
Paramount. When someone says what they need, maybe it's quiet time after work, maybe it's keeping certain friendships or hobbies just for themselves. They're telling you something important about who they are. It reflects their self-awareness, their past experiences.
And ignoring those boundaries, even the small ones, isn't just being a bit thoughtless, is it?
PG Sebastian calls ignoring stated desires and limits a blatant form of disrespect. Think about the message it sends.
It says, my needs right now are more important than yours.
Or, what I think the relationship needs matters more than what you are telling me you need. You're overriding their self-knowledge, their need for safety, and self-preservation within the relationship.
So if my partner keeps interrupting my hour of quiet reading time, even after I've asked them not to, they're not just being needy. They're disrespecting a core part of who I am, right? The part that needs that recharge.
Precisely. Boundaries in this model PG Sebastian lays out are like the fences that protect that unique inner world, that subjective reality. He reminds us they ensure that delicate balance between togetherness and individuality.
Keeps things from getting too merged.
Yeah, he keeps the relationship dynamic, prevents one person from just being absorbed by the other or by the relationship itself.
Okay, here's a little mental check-in for you listening. Ask yourself, are you respecting your partner's boundaries because you genuinely value them, their unique way of being? Or are you sometimes pushing past them because it suits you or because you think you know what the relationship needs?
Hmm.
PG Sebastian would say that difference is huge. It's the gap between just putting up with something and actively recognizing and valuing the person.
And that really is the golden nugget, isn't it? Because it brings us right back to the heart of the Steps to Forever philosophy. How does this deeper active respect function as the glue in marriage or long-term partnerships?
Is it just glue? Or is it more like the actual structure, the beams and
Uh,
foundations?
I think that's a better analogy, actually. PG Sebastian describes respect in these close relationships as a continuous endeavor. It's not a one-time thing you achieve.
You don't just get there and stop.
No. You have to move past just avoiding fights. It requires a conscious daily effort to really appreciate what makes your partner unique, to keep acknowledging that their thoughts, their feelings, their needs, they are just as valid, just as valuable as your own.
So when disagreements inevitably pop up, if that foundation of recognition is strong, the conflict doesn't feel like an attack on the relationship itself.
Exactly. PG Sebastian notes that when couples can navigate those tough conversations with mutual respect and understanding, they don't just get through the conflict, they actually use it. They build stronger, more resilient bonds. It becomes fuel for growth.
Wow. So respect is basically the entry ticket for being able to handle conflict constructively and grow together.
It's the prerequisite. And PG Sebastian also points out this isn't just about the two people in the relationship.
Right, he connects the small picture to the big picture.
Yeah, the microcosm to the macrocosm. Successfully building that deep respect within a couple, navigating those profound differences respectfully. It kind of echoes what's needed for broader social harmony. If two people can manage it, maybe there's hope for communities, right?
A powerful thought.
So to wrap up PG Sebastian's core message here, respect demands we consciously move beyond the simple stuff, just not being outwardly disrespectful. We need to aim for thoughtful, active appreciation. We need to embrace empathy, truly value diversity, even within our closest relationship. That's how you build something resilient.
And as PG Sebastian emphasizes, that mutual respect is the absolute foundation for love that lasts. So here's the final thought to chew on. If respect is what lets you navigate conflict and grow, what subtle form of non-recognition, what tiny act of dismissal might be quietly chipping away at the foundation of your most important connection right now?
Is it that instant rejection of an idea? The casual disregard of a boundary, however small?
Those subtle erosions, that's where the real work often lies.
It really is. And we genuinely encourage you to keep exploring this. Dig deeper into the reflections and materials from PG Sebastian and the Steps to Forever resources. Taking your connection to the next level. It really hinges on this deeper active appreciation we've been talking about today.